Hello and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's take a look at what's making headlines at this hour. Increase cooperation in innovation to make BRICS a more productive organization, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the plenary session of BRICS Summit in Brazil. Announces BRICS digital conference to be held in India. Supreme Court dismisses all review petitions in the Rafale case. CGI-headed bench says no separate investigation needed. Also accepts Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's apology in the contempt case. Cautions him against future rhetoric. Home Minister Amit Shah says Supreme Court verdict on Rafale a befitting reply to malicious campaign of some leaders and reaffirms Modi government's credentials as transparent and corruption-free. Terms petitions politically motivated. Supreme Court sends Sabrimala case to a 7-judge bench. Larger bench to review petitions on the entry of women into the Sabrimala shrine. Court had termed practice of restricting women unconstitutional in its September 2018 order. And by-polls announced for one Rajya Sabha seat each from Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka. Seats fell vacant after the resignation of Tazin Fatima from UP and K.C. Ramamurthy from Karnataka. Polling on the 12th of December. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday addressed the plenary session of the 11th BRICS Summit in Brazil. Addressing the session, the Prime Minister said that the theme, economic growth for an innovative future of the summit, is apt as it has become the necessity for every development work today. He stressed on strengthening cooperation among the BRICS countries for innovation. The Prime Minister also stressed on the need for the member countries to focus on progressive directions through mutual cooperation in the next 10 years.
इनोवेशन हमारे विकास का आधार बन चुका है, इसलिए आवश्यक है कि हम इनोवेशन के लिए ब्रिक्स के अंतर्गत सहयोग मजबूत करें। ब्राजील ने स्वयं इनोवेशन और व्यावहारिक सहयोग के लिए कई सफल कदम उठाए हैं। आने वाले वर्षों में भी ब्राजील के इनिशिएटिव पर हमें कार्यरत रहना चाहिए। एक्सेलेंसीज, 10 वर्ष पहले वित्तीय संकट और कई आर्थिक समस्याओं के समय ब्रिक्स की शुरुआत हुई थी। 2009 में येकातरीन बर्ग से शुरू हुई यात्रा कई उल्लेखनीय पड़ाव पर कर चुकी है। इन वर्षों में ब्रिक्स देश वैश्विक आर्थिक वृद्धि के प्रमुख इंजन रहे हैं और पूरी मानवता के विकास में हमारा योगदान रहा है। साथ ही शांतिपूर्ण, समृद्ध और मल्टीपोलर विश्व के प्रमुख कारक के रूप में हम उभरे हैं।
Prime Minister Modi also emphasized on the need to focus on trade and investment among BRICS nations. He said that intra-BRICS trade is only 15% of the world trade, while the combined population of the BRICS countries is more than 40% of the global population. He further said that sustainable water management and sanitation are important challenges in urban areas, and considering this, the Prime Minister proposed a meeting of BRICS water ministers in India to review the matter.
हमें आपसी व्यापार और निवेश पर विशेष ध्यान देने की जरूरत है। इंट्रा ब्रिक्स व्यापार विश्व व्यापार का सिर्फ 15% है, जबकि हमारी सम्मिलित आबादी दुनिया की आबादी की 40% से भी ज़्यादा है। पांचों देशों में सर्विस सेक्टर जीडीपी का बड़ा हिस्सा है, इसलिए सर्विसेज में व्यापार को बढ़ाने की अच्छी संभावनाएं हैं। इंट्रा ब्रिक्स ट्रेड की लागत को भी कम करना जरूरी है। हमारे ट्रेड मंत्री इसे 5% कम करने के लक्ष्य पर विचार कर सकते हैं। ब्रिक्स में इनोवेशंस, इकोसिस्टम और टेक्नोलॉजी में उद्यमिता को बढ़ावा देंगे। ब्रिक्स स्टार्टअप चैलेंज को और हैकेथॉन भी इस उद्देश्य में सहायक होंगे।
In addition, Prime Minister Modi also said that the atmosphere of doubt created by terrorism, terror funding, drug trafficking and organized crime harm trade and business. He has therefore called upon the BRICS nations to unite against the menace of terrorism. He also said that the menace has resulted in the loss of $1 trillion to the world economy. He also added that terrorism today is the biggest threat to development, peace and prosperity.
विश्व युद्ध जैसे खतरों से मानवता दूर आई है, लेकिन विकास और सुख शांति के लिए आतंकवाद सबसे बड़े खतरे के रूप में उभरा है। 10 सालों में आतंकवाद के हाथों 2.25 लाख जीवन मिटे और समाज को गहरी क्षति हुई। इसके अलावा विभिन्न अनुमानों के अनुसार $1 ट्रिलियन से ज्यादा का नुकसान विश्व की अर्थव्यवस्था को हुआ और विकासशील देशों की इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ को 1.5% तक को उसने कम किया है। आतंकवाद, टेररिज्म फाइनेंसिंग, ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग और ऑर्गेनाइज्ड क्राइम से बना संशय का वातावरण व्यवसाय और व्यापार को गहरा अप्रत्यक्ष नुकसान पहुंचाता है।
And coming back home, a 3-judge Supreme Court bench led by Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi on Thursday dismissed a batch of review petitions challenging its December 2018 verdict in the Rafale case. The bench said that the petitions lack merit. For more details, let's look into this report.
For the second in less than a year, the Supreme Court has given a clean chit to the government in the Rafale fighter jet deal with French firm Dassault Aviation. In its verdict, the apex court said that there was no need for a rowing inquiry into the case. A 3-judge bench led by Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi said that the review petitions lack merit. The court struck down pleas that had sought re-examination of the December 14, 2018 verdict, which said there was no occasion to doubt the decision-making process in the procurement of the 36 Rafale fighter jets.
पूरे तथ्यों को परीक्षण करने के बाद, पूरा एग्जामिन करने के बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पाया कि इसमें कोई तथ्य नहीं है, कोई घोटाले का कहीं भी कोई भी प्रूफ नहीं मिला है और इसलिए उन्होंने पूरा का पूरे रिव्यू पिटीशन सारे के सारे रिव्यू पिटीशन को डिसमिस कर दिया।
Air Force has always been defending the deal because not only for the aircraft, it is also the Air Force has been defending the deal because we have been saying that the cost negotiating committee for this particular deal was headed by the then Deputy Chief, and they have done a wonderful job and they have gone into all aspects, got us a good deal and most importantly got us a very fine aircraft.
Soon after the pronouncement of the verdict, the government slammed the Congress and said that since the allegations of corruption were aimed at maligning Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the party should apologize.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने राफेल केस को लेकर दायर की गई रिव्यू पिटीशन को पूरी तरह से खारिज कर दिया है। मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इस फैसले का स्वागत करता हूं और इससे हमारी सरकार के स्टैंड का विंडिकेशन हुआ है इस फैसले के परिणाम स्वरूप। राफेल के संबंध में जो भी निर्णय लिया गया था वो पूरी तरह से पारदर्शिता के आधार पर लिया गया था। कुछ लोगों के द्वारा जानबूझकर निहित राजनीतिक स्वार्थ को पूरा करने के लिए इसका राजनीतिकरण करने की कोशिश की गई।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने राफेल के मामले में रिव्यू को रिजेक्ट कर दिया है। ये सत्य की जीत है, भारत की सुरक्षा की जीत है और नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार के ईमानदार निर्णय प्रक्रिया की जीत है। सत्यमेव जयते। कांग्रेस पार्टी औपचारिक रूप से देश से माफी मांगे और राहुल गांधी देश से माफी मांगे।
ब्यूरो रिपोर्ट, राज्य सभा टीवी।
And the Supreme Court on Thursday said that restrictions on women in religious places was not limited to the Sabrimala shrine alone and was prevalent in other religions as well. The apex court, by a majority of 3-2, referred the review petitions to a larger 7-judge bench. Justice R.F. Nariman and Justice D.Y. Chandrachud gave dissenting judgments. The apex court said the larger bench will decide all such religious issues relating to Sabrimala, entry of women in mosques, and the practice of female genital mutilation in the Dawoodi Bohra community. Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi read the verdict on behalf of himself and Justice A.M. Khanwilkar and Justice Indu Malhotra, and he said the endeavour of the petitioners was to revive debate on religion and faith. The apex court, by a majority verdict of 4-1, remember, in September 2018, had lifted the ban that prevented women and girls between the age of 10 and 50 from entering the famous Ayyappa shrine in Kerala. It had also held that this centuries-old Hindu religious practice was unconstitutional. And in another judgment on Thursday, the Supreme Court closed the contempt case against Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. The case was filed by BJP MP Meenakshi Lekhi over his comments on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The apex court also asked him to be more careful in future for attributing his remarks to the court. A bench comprising Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi referred to the affidavit filed by Rahul Gandhi, tendering unconditional apology, and said the Congress leader enjoys an important position in political spectrum and no court should be dragged into political discourse. And the Supreme Court on Thursday said that it will give a final hearing to petitions challenging the revocation of Article 370 on the 10th of December. A 5-judge bench was hearing a batch of petitions challenging the abrogation of Article 370 and also the bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir. The central government had in August announced a decision to scrap Article 370, which gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir and also bifurcate the state into 2 union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and that of Ladakh. The 2 union territories came into existence on 31st October. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Thursday said people living in the border areas are not ordinary citizens but strategic assets of the country. Rajnath Singh was addressing the Maitrey Divas celebrations in Tawang, Arunachal Pradesh. He added that the central government is committed to the development of the northeastern states. Earlier in the day, Singh also laid a wreath at the Tawang War Memorial. The Defence Minister is on a 2-day visit to Arunachal Pradesh to review security preparedness in the region.
इस न्यू नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया के निर्माण के लिए भी हम सभी को प्रयत्न करना होगा। नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडस्ट्रियल कॉरिडोर की पहल की जाएगी, जिसमें रोजगार भी बढ़ेगा। मैं आपको जानकारी देना चाहता हूं, नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडस्ट्रियल कॉरिडोर की भी पहल की जाएगी और जिससे रोजगार बढ़ेगा और अरुणाचल प्रदेश साउथ ईस्ट एशिया के लिए एक लैंड ब्रिज के रूप में काम करेगा।
Hinting at holding assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir in the near future, Lieutenant Governor Girish Chandra Murmu said on Thursday that the election process will begin soon. While speaking at the passing out parade in Talwara Riyasi in Jammu division, he appreciated the role of the police in bringing peace in Jammu and Kashmir and also added that the state police has a major role to play during the elections in the now Union territory. In another development, retired IPS officer Farooq Khan and former bureaucrat K.K. Sharma have been appointed as the advisors to the Lieutenant Governor of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir.
केंद्र शासित प्रदेश है, इसके साथ लेजिस्लेचर भी है। ये नहीं मानना है कि इसी तरह चलेगा। यहाँ जल्द से जल्द चुनाव करने के लिए प्रक्रिया भी आएगा और उसमें भी आप लोगों का भूमिका रहेगा। इसीलिए आज फिर से आप लोगों को ये याद दिलाता हूँ कि हम लोग जिसी तरह आपने अभी तक जो निभाया है, आप जो नया सारे जवान इसमें शामिल होंगे, अब भी इसमें बहुत सारे अहम भूमिका निभाएंगे।
And time for a short break here, but news and updates will continue on the other side as well. Do stay with us.
Ministry of Steel has issued the steel scrap recycling policy.
The government has shown its intentions, all credit to it. Government has got both the ministries on board, all credit to it. Government has been able to identify, all credit to it. Now,
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is currently addressing the BRICS Business Forum in Brazil. Let's listen in.
एक रोड मैप बनाए, हमारे बीच आर्थिक पूरकताओं की पहचान इस प्रयास में बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण होगी। दूसरा, पांचों देशों में कई एग्रोटेक स्टार्टअप्स उभरे हैं। इनका नेटवर्क, अनुभव साझा करने और हमारे बड़े मार्केट्स का फायदा उठाने के लिए बहुत उपयोगी होगा। इन स्टार्टअप्स के जरिए कृषि में टेक्नोलॉजी और डाटा एनालिटिक्स टूल्स के उपयोग को भी प्रोत्साहन मिलेगा। तीसरा, यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ कवरेज, इसमें आ रही चुनौतियों के समाधान के लिए डिजिटल हेल्थ एप्लीकेशन के इस्तेमाल पर काउंसिल भारत में एक हैकेथॉन आयोजित करने पर विचार करे। चौथा, स्मॉल और मीडियम इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए एक वर्किंग ग्रुप बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस के आदान प्रदान को आसान बनाएगा। ब्रिक्स पे, क्रेडिट रेटिंग एजेंसी, री इंश्योरेंस पूल और सीड बैंक जैसे विषयों पर जल्द प्रगति से ब्रिक्स बिजनेस कम्युनिटी को व्यवहारिक सहयोग का बहुत बड़ा लाभ मिलेगा। न्यू डेवलपमेंट बैंक और ब्रिक्स बिजनेस काउंसिल के बीच पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट दोनों संस्थाओं के लिए उपयोगी होगा। हमारी अर्थव्यवस्थाओं के बड़े इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फाइनेंस की आवश्यकता है। मेरा मानना है कि न्यू डेवलपमेंट बैंक इस क्षेत्र में बहुमूल्य सहयोग प्रदान कर सकता है। मैं एनडीबी द्वारा प्रोजेक्ट्स प्रिपरेशन फंड की शुरुआत का स्वागत करता हूं। एनडीबी के पोर्टफोलियो में निजी क्षेत्र के प्रोजेक्ट शामिल किए जाने से बैंक की मौजूदगी बढ़ेगी। फ्रेंड्स, मैं ब्रिक्स देशों और एनडीबी से कोalition फॉर डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की पहल में शामिल होने का अनुरोध करता हूं। डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए गाइडिंग प्रिंसिपल्स बनाने पर एनडीबी के साथ कार्य करके भारत को प्रसन्नता होगी। मैं अनुरोध करता हूं कि भारत में एनडीबी के रीजनल ऑफिस की स्थापना का कार्य जल्द पूरा किया जाए। इससे हमारी प्राथमिकता के क्षेत्रों में प्रोजेक्ट्स को बढ़ावा मिलेगा। फ्रेंड्स, भारत में निवेश के बढ़ते अवसरों और इनोवेशन के इकोसिस्टम से आप भलीभांति परिचित हैं। सन 2022 तक न्यू इंडिया के निर्माण और भारत की विकास यात्रा का हिस्सा बनने के लिए मैं आप सबको आमंत्रित करता हूं। एक्सेलेंसीज, फ्रेंड्स, मैं यह कहते हुए अपनी बात समाप्त करूंगा कि ब्रिक्स आर्थिक सहयोग को मजबूत करने का हमारा सपना काउंसिल और एनडीबी के पूरे सहयोग से ही साकार हो सकता है। इस उद्देश्य के लिए आपके प्रयासों में भारत आपके साथ है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
So you just heard the Prime Minister speaking at the BRICS Business Council and the New Development Bank, wherein he spoke about the multiple investment opportunities that India currently provides, and he also called on all stakeholders to come and be part of India's growth story. Moving on in the bulletin, on the occasion of Children's Day, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu interacted with the children from several government and private schools from all across the National Capital Region, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and other neighbouring states as well. These students had travelled to Delhi to take part in the Children's Day celebrations held at the Vice President's official residence in New Delhi. Talking about Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's fondness for children, the Vice President said that Pandit Nehru always desired for children to have joyful and fulfilling childhoods. Asking the students to take inspiration from the lives of our great freedom fighters, the Vice President urged them to become true nationalists by keeping the interests of the nation above everything else. He also urged them to be active partners in protecting and preserving the environment. He also told them to be active partners in national missions like the Swachh Bharat, Fit India, and work towards eradicating single-use plastic.
आज देश की पहली प्रधानमंत्री पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी का जन्मदिन भी है। हमारे स्वाधीनता आंदोलन के नेताओं ने आज़ादी के प्रारंभिक दिनों में देश में लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं और संस्कार स्थापित किए हुए आधुनिक भारत के लिए आधुनिक दृष्टिकोण वाले नागरिकों की अपेक्षा रखते थे, जिन्हें अपने गौरवशाली सभ्यता और आध्यात्मिक संस्कृति धरोहर पर तो विश्वास हो, पर रूढ़ियों और अंधविश्वास पर नहीं। इस उद्देश्य से ही उन्होंने आधुनिक शिक्षा पर जोर दिया, उच्च शिक्षा संस्थान बनाए, वैज्ञानिक अनुसंधान और तकनीकी शिक्षा के लिए आईआईटी, एम्स, आईआईएम जैसे संस्थान स्थापित किए। उनका मानना था कि केवल सही शिक्षा से ही समाज का निर्माण हो सकता है।
More than 2 weeks after taking oath as the Chief Minister of Haryana, Manohar Lal Khattar on Thursday expanded his Council of Ministers by inducting 10 members. Haryana Governor Satyadev Narayan Arya administered the oath to newly inducted ministers at the Raj Bhavan in Chandigarh. The induction of 10 members, 6 of cabinet rank and 4 ministers of state takes the strength of the Council of Ministers to 12. Among the ministers who took the oath, 8 are from the BJP and 1 from the Jananayak Janata Party and 1 independent. Manohar Lal Khattar and JJP's Dushyant Singh Chautala had taken oath, remember, on 27th October as Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister of Haryana, respectively. The Election Commission on Thursday announced by-polls for 2 Rajya Sabha seats. One seat is from Uttar Pradesh and the other is from Karnataka. Notification for the polls will be issued on 25th of this month and nominations can be filed till the 2nd of December. Polling and counting will be held on 12 December. The seat in Uttar Pradesh was vacated by Samajwadi Party's Tazeen Fatma after her election to Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly in the recently held by-polls. While in the state of Karnataka, the seat fell vacant as K.C. Ramamurthy of the Congress, who represented Karnataka in the upper house, recently joined the BJP. And the BJP on Thursday nominated 13 of the 17 disqualified Congress and JDS MLAs for the December 5 by-polls. The MLAs were disqualified by the then Speaker K.R. Ramesh Kumar in July earlier this year under the anti-defection law after they tendered their resignations, which led to the collapse of the JDS-Congress coalition government in the state. The Supreme Court on Wednesday upheld the disqualification of the 17 MLAs but paved way for them to contest the by-polls on 5th December. 15 out of the 17 constituencies represented by these MLAs will be going for the assembly by-polls. A day after the Supreme Court's verdict, 16 of the 17 disqualified MLAs formally joined the BJP in Bengaluru in the presence of Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa. The party has given tickets to 13 of these MLAs for the upcoming by-polls. And now let's talk about environment and climate change. India kicks off a $43 million project to boost climate resilience in 3 coastal states in partnership with the UNDP. This project, funded by the Green Climate Fund, is likely to impact over 10 million people living on the coastline. The government will give additional $86.8 million towards the project to mainstream and also accelerate the impact of the Green Climate Fund grant. According to UNDP, this 6-year project will build climate-resilient livelihoods for 1.7 million people in the states of Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and Odisha. It will offset 3.5 million tons of carbon and protect vulnerable ecosystems, while also improving shoreline protection. Project activities will focus on restoration and conservation of about 15,000 hectares of mangroves, coral reefs, seagrasses and salt marshes. Besides, it will also build local knowledge of climate change and associated risks via training and public education programs. The 14-day India International Trade Fair has begun from Thursday in New Delhi. The theme this year is Ease of Doing Business. Inaugurating the fair, Union Minister for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Nitin Gadkari expressed happiness that the focus states this year are Jharkhand and Bihar. The first 5 days of the event are reserved for business. The fair will open for the general public from the 19th of November. People can visit the fair from 9:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Several countries, including Australia, Iran, the United Kingdom and China, are participating in the trade fair this time. And this year, the status of partner country has been accorded to Afghanistan, while South Korea will be the focus country. Renowned mathematician and scientist Vashisht Narayan Singh passed away on Thursday in Patna after prolonged illness. PhD in cycle vector space theory, Vashisht Narayan Singh worked with NASA and later returned to India in 1971 to teach at IIT Kanpur and ISI Kolkata. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar said it was an irreparable loss to the state as well as the country. President Ramnath Kovind took to Twitter to give condolences, and he said that Vashisht Narayan Singh was a noted mathematician. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed grief and described his death as the loss of a rare talent in the field of science. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you for your time.